It's time for Mornings with Mike on 830 WEEU, the voice of Berks and beyond.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
Featuring Mike Keller and Bob McCool.
A guaranteed disaster.
Now, here's Mike.
Let me talk to you.
All right, 8 o'clock hour here on this Thursday morning on 830 WEEU, the voice of Berks and beyond. You can give us a ring, 610-374-8800. Email Mike at 830weeu.com, or you can text 267-422-2830. 1 hour from right now, Andy P., Austin Runkle, Classic Harley Davidson to kick off the Take the Chill Out with Chef Tim's Chili event, brought to you by Renner's Markets, benefiting Blankets of Hope. To find out if you can't make it out today where you can get your chili, go to blanketsofhope.org. Right now, we are excited and thrilled to welcome in two-time Super Bowl champion, Berks County native, Chad Henne is with us right now. Good morning, Chad. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well, Chad. Thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us. Bob and I have been obviously talking some Super Bowl this week, and the one question that we got to start off with, man, is just what's it like as a player to go through this week? What's it like as a player to get away from your normal routine and have to just be part of the Super Bowl circus?
Well, I think once you get to Wednesday, then you're into normal week. I mean, you still have immediate obligations, but when you get in Sunday night, obviously you have some downtime. You have some NFL security meetings, kind of the lay of the land, and then Monday is the big opening night, the media night, and that's where, you know, it's kind of gets it going, gets your juices flowing, and then Tuesday's kind of quick run through, but like I said, once you get to Wednesday, that's when you're back into game week, and now you can really just concentrate on football and, you know, neglect everything else.
So is that kind of the mantra for those first 2 days? Let's just get through this?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, once you get all the meetings done and all that, you know, you definitely get out of that.
Do you Chad, you experienced this nonsense, for the lack of a better way to put it, but the non-football stuff, let's just call it that. But you experienced this a couple of times. But as a veteran player, do you guys have meetings with some of the younger players to try to get them to understand exactly what it is that they're about to experience?
Well, I think, you know, Andy Reid and his staff has done a great job. We usually have one of our guys kind of go through the run-through of exactly what we're doing, exact times, where you need to be before we even ever get out to the Super Bowl site. So you kind of have, you know, an idea of what you're going into, and then obviously once you get there, those meetings then reoccur through the NFL and the NFL security. But we kind of, Coach Reid and the staff really just prepare you the week prior.
You previously mentioned the opening night, that Monday night, which used to be media day or whatever they called it. Now it's obviously a spectacle just to itself. What's some of the weirder questions that you have heard over your time sitting there? Because, you know, you're a guy who's dealt with the media his entire life. You're used to talking to beat reporters and talking football. You don't get a lot of football questions on opening night of the Super Bowl. So there's got to be one or two that stuck in your mind over the years of just like, do I have to answer this? That type of stuff.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely randoms. I mean, you got media from all over the world. Sometimes they don't even speak English, and they have an interpreter right next to you. And they look at you like you should understand what they're saying. And you kind of just like, okay. Like I might have taken 2 or 3 classes in Spanish in high school and maybe in college. I'm like, hola, ¿cómo está? Like I can say how I'm feeling, but that's about it. But there's those questions. I'm trying to think some of the weirder. I mean, they'll say, you know, silly things like, you know, food, just like chicken or steak, dogs or cats, like just the easy random questions. But you kind of just like look at them and you're like, you're really wasting my time.
I spent how many years of my life getting ready for this moment, and I'm answering questions about dogs and cats.
Yes.
And now you're sitting here talking to us.
Yeah,
so
well, there's that.
I'm not sure it's gotten any better for you, Chad. When you look at how, you know, the circus is, you obviously have been in it. And now I'm sure you've been asked this question. With the addition of Taylor Swift and just even more focus on the Kansas City Chiefs per se, have you spoken to any of your ex-teammates about just maybe how different it is this year just because of that spotlight?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just leave that out of the thing. And I text with Patrick, each and every week right before the game, and still keep in contact with Matt Nagy and all of them. But we have still a text thread from, we call it the 2022 KC QB, so we still keep up to date. But for that, I was at the Pro Bowl last weekend, and I sat down with Jason Kelsey and had lunch with him. And, he's like, yeah, I'm going to meet Taylor's dad next week, Scott. And I'm like, okay, obviously, for us, it's hometown. Not that we know them, but I'm very good friends with the Savages, and Fred Savage is Scott's best friend. So they talk about him all the time. And, there's a lot of hoopla, but at the same time, it's a lot of good light, especially for younger generation girls. Now they're watching football and something different that they really haven't watched. I want to watch football with Dad. And the dads are like, heck yeah, I can do this now. I got my daughter with me, but they just want to see Taylor Swift. But at the same time, at least they're watching the game, creating more viewers. And that's exactly what the NFL wants.
We just talked about this yesterday I have a 15-year-old daughter who, doesn't give a crap about football. But now that Taylor Swift's in the stadium and she can see her for 24 seconds live on TV, she's now, interested, which to me is awesome, like you said.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you, Chad. I'm sure your kids are really happy now that you're retired and you're home all the time. However, are they happy that they missed out on the opportunity to hang out with Taylor Swift, and maybe not so happy that you retired?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, they definitely, my daughter and my wife are big fans. They went to the concert last year in Philly or this summer. But if you would ask them, obviously the Super Bowl, and they've experienced it 3 times. So they're like, Dad, why didn't you stay on for another year? I'm like, well, if I knew I was going to the Super Bowl the next year, yes, I would have signed another contract and said, you know what, I'll play one more year if I'm guaranteed a Super Bowl, but you're never guaranteed that.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? You said, we were asking you about hanging out with Taylor Swift, and a second ago you said you were hanging out with Jason Kelsey, and now it's all I can think about. Is he retiring, Chad? Did you get any breaking news you can help us out with here on WEEU?
He still said he's going to retire. Obviously, I think they're in Audubon and right outside of King of Prussia. I think they're going to build a new house there. So his wife is from there, so they're going to stay put in Philly, which will be great to have him around. Good person in the Philadelphia area.
We want to get to actually some football, but I know Bob was showing me some videos of you at the Pro Bowl, so I know you wanted to ask him about his situation last weekend, Bob.
It was this skill challenge, and the receiver who's a tight end actually with the Cleveland Browns, and the challenge, the skill for him was he was doing backflips off a rope and catching a football. And then I realized that the guy throwing the football, standing in a boat, looked really familiar to me. I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like Chad Henne. And how did you get roped into that one?
Yeah, so my marketing, guys from my agency called me on Monday, and I thought they were going to say for an appearance at the Super Bowl. Heads up.
You thought you were hitting Radio Row.
Yeah, they're like, you know what, can you be in Orlando tomorrow? And, of course I always look at my watch or my phone. I'm like, yeah, I really don't got anything to do, so I think I could be down there. I was like, what is it for? And they said, for this best catch, you need to throw, a couple balls to some of the receivers, and not knowing, what the activity actually would have been.
You would be doing it from a boat.
Yeah, on a boat in a lagoon, and David Njoku was doing that, rope backflip, which was pretty impressive for a 6'5", 250-pound guy to do. But he didn't catch the ball, so I guess I didn't do my job good enough, and maybe I won't be invited back.
All right. So the first question was, how many times did you practice that?
Exactly. Yep.
And how does one practice? Have you ever thrown a football off of a boat before the trip to Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't practice at all. They had a stunt guy, and it was just like a skinny little kid that, came off the rope pool, did this nice little backflip, and I was like, okay. And the first time I missed a little high for him, and then we tried it again the second time, and then I just figured out, all right, once they obviously get their head around. That's when I just need to shoot the ball.
Right. You got to figure out the timing of when you got to deliver.
Yeah. It's not like a crossing pattern across the middle.
We did it 4 times with Njoku, and all 4 times, thankfully, 3 times I hit him in the hands, which you guys all probably saw.
Right.
And then the 4th time, they didn't show the one. I hit him right in the face. And I thought I broke his nose, and I was like, oh, no, I'm definitely not getting invited back.
It's got to be.
You still got some arm strength then, Chad.
Yeah.
It's got to be a lot of fun, though, to just get a call like that, and the next day you're doing something that not a lot of people on the planet Earth can say they've done in the past. It's got to be still an exciting part of what you get to do.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely a lot of fun, and it was good to see a lot of the guys playing in the Pro Bowl. I got to hang out with Tyreek Hill. He was down there. Some old teammates that I played with, and then one of our strength coaches that retired last year, Barry Rubin. He was down there, so we got to hang with them as well.
We're chatting with 2-time Super Bowl champion, former Kansas City Chief, Chad Henne, on with us right now on Mornings with Mike. Bob McCool, Mike Keller. Chad, we're just glad that you weren't practicing in Blue Marsh on a boat before you went down to Orlando, because we kind of maybe
a little bit chilly. I'm not saying the lagoon was much warmer down there.
Oh, okay.
Than having some colder temps, but yeah, no thanks. No polar plunge for me.
So you got to experience some Pro Bowl fun. We got to talk about what it's like making its way through Super Bowl week. Now the game, I mean, just the success that the Kansas City Chiefs have had over these last handful of years. You got to be a part of it. Obviously, we have a soft spot here in this area for Andy Reid. If we're going to root for anybody that isn't a Philadelphia Eagle, Andy Reid still has those colors running through him, according to a lot of us Eagles fans.
And the guy that Chad just mentioned, Matt Nagy, who's their former Bears coach, who's the offensive coordinator, is a Manheim Central graduate.
So there's a lot of local connections to the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at their journey this year and how they got to the Super Bowl, a little bit different than how you guys did it in past years.
Sure. I mean, definitely a lot of ups and downs, and there were new faces. Just like every year, there's going to be new faces, but a young receiving core, obviously trying to find their way. And I always say, Coach Reid's offense isn't the easiest on young receivers. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of adjustments. There's a lot of just finding zones and sitting down, not running straight lines. So there took some time, and then they also added 2 new offensive tackles, which, knowing where Patrick's going to be, how to set, is definitely difficult on them. But thankfully, the defense has really stepped up and done one heck of a job to keep them in the games that, sometimes they were struggling. And then obviously you see in the playoffs, it's just a whole culminating factor of offense, defense, and special teams really hitting their stride at the right time.
Just that defense real quick it's obviously a different brand of football than the Chiefs have played through the years. Is it as weird for you to watch as it is for us to see the Chiefs out there as a defensive juggernaut when we're so used to, you mentioned Tyreek Hill from the past, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, just this offense that is unstoppable?
Yeah, absolutely. But when I was there, just seeing the young talent and L'Jarius Sneed and McDuffie, obviously we added him on last year. Karlaftis, the DN, and obviously Chris Jones is always, a power in the middle. But just to see the guys progress, get confidence, and, Spags is a guy that's always going to pressure you. So he's going to create pressure on the quarterback, make sure he's not set in stone in his spot in the pocket at all times, and they just done a great job. And Patrick, now you can hear him in the media saying, sometimes I just don't have to take that chance down the field anymore. I just need to play the field position, not turn the football over, and I know my defense has my back.
Chad, you played the position at the highest level in the NFL for 15 years, and obviously you played the last couple of years with Patrick Mahomes. What makes Patrick Mahomes as special of a football player as he is?
Well, first of all, he's the ultimate competitor. He, anytime you have a guy that just wants to win at every single thing possible, whether it be in the meeting room, in the weight room, sprints, practice, he is that ultimate competitor. So that's number one. And second of all, just his work ethic. I mean, we all see his physical attributes on the field, but in the meeting rooms, just the detail-oriented that he is, his note-taking, the ability to pick up the offense very quickly and regurgitate it to everybody and almost become a second coach has been tremendous. And obviously it wasn't like that in the beginning. Like, it took time, and even for me, just to learn the offense. But now he's really taken it over. And lastly, to be a leader on the field, he's a great leader for everybody. He practices hard. He, sets the example in practice each and every week. And then that just transfers over into the games.
And on top of all of that, obviously there's a lot going on with him and his family outside of the football stadium, and he seems to have a singular focus where he doesn't let any of that outside noise really affect him on the field.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, you come into work, you kind of drop off your luggage right outside the door, and then you walk in, and it's a new day. You're there to work. You're there to help each other get better, yourself get better. And I think he's done a great job blocking that out and, really just going about it. And I know the guys support him, in the facility and obviously outside the facility as well.
Chad, I'm just curious. I mean, now we've talked about this before we brought you on the air, that you're now a volunteer coach with your alma mater at Wilson High School, which is cool. It's great for me every time I get a chance to do a Wilson game to see Chad Henne and see Chad Henne on the field and on the sideline and working with the Bulldogs. There was a rumor over the course of the season when Aaron Rodgers got hurt that the first call that the Jets were going to make was to Chad Henne. You didn't ultimately take the offer. And so a rumor then started, and I think it was by me, that it's because Wilson pays better than the Jets. So would you like to shed any light on any of those rumors, or any of them true?
Yeah. So, I mean, the coaching staff at New York was with me in Jacksonville. So Sala was our running back coach. Hackett was our quarterback coach, and then got promoted to offensive coordinator. There's just a bunch of guys on the staff that I was with in Jacksonville. And, yeah, I was the first call. There was many conversations that, we came about it. But I just felt like, all right, if Aaron Rodgers, tore his Achilles in 4 plays, he's a little bit more athletic than I am right now. The offensive line doesn't look great. Yeah, you got a good defense. But I wasn't sold on Zach Wilson. And I just felt like as soon as I got in, to the building or signed, it would be like a big rush. Okay, Zach's not going to be our guy. All right, Chad, you're in, and now you got to play 13 games with no weight training. Not that I didn't, I don't stay in shape, but it's just a different type of training, getting ready for training camp and a season than right now when I just do my dad bod cardio and core each and every day. But
so you're telling us?
So I just felt like the story is already written that I would be playing a lot sooner than later, and it just wasn't, the right situation.
So you're telling us those of us who hit the YMCA and play some pickleball aren't athletically ready to get on the NFL field?
No.
So instead, you continue to work with the Wilson Bulldogs, but you're also working with your former head coach at Wilson High School, Jim Catafio, and doing camps for kids. You want to spend a little bit of time just telling us about that, and if kids and their parents are interested, how they can go about having Chad Henne.
I mean, it's been great. We do a Wednesday night program for mostly the older kids out at Spooky Nook and Dome from 8 to 9:15 on Wednesdays. A lot of good footwork, just good work where you can bring a receiver, they catch, and we have 4 stations. We just rotate them around and, switch it up, about every 3 weeks. And then we also have our mini camps that we run on the weekends. That's usually twice a month, whether it's at Lenco Fieldhouse or we've been doing them at Exeter Fieldhouse as well. It's all on the site, svssports.com. And, it's been great. There's individual works, but my thing is I have a lot of knowledge to give back, and I just want to see our youth, especially in our community and our area, really grow, and not only just football, but just talk to me and trying to just spread some wisdom on them for football itself or life.
Now, obviously an assistant coach, is this something you want to build on? Do you see more coaching for Chad Henne in the future?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how busy I do get with this, personal endeavor with my training. But, I'll definitely still help out this year at Wilson. Really enjoyed it. The coaching staff has been tremendous. The kids are great. And, it was just a lot of fun for me to get my football feed in for this year rather than playing.
Chad Henne, two-time Super Bowl champ, former quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. I guess we don't have to ask you who you're rooting for on Sunday, so we know the answer to that. I think you'll have a lot of Berks Countyans pulling with you for those Chiefs, especially the way the 49ers complained after the Eagles beat them last year. So we'll leave it at that. Chad, so much fun to chat with you. Thank you so much. I hope we can have you on again sometime down the road.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, you,
Chad.
Henne. Chad Henne with us here on Mornings with Mike on 830 WEEU.